Good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock on the dot. I'm sure some more people will trickle in, but we have a pretty packed agenda, so we're going to get going. Some housekeepings before we go is to make sure that you're muted until the Q&A section at the end. We are hoping to have some time for some Q&A. So submit your questions via the chat or go ahead and unmute yourself. As you can tell, we have a pretty full agenda. I'll run through it really quickly. We're going to start with PBT, DUNS numbers to unique entity IDs, supply chain funds, USDA awards, a couple of different USDA topics, I should just say. Kat's going to run through some capital expenditure request stuff, and then Marianne is going to go over some summer food things. So go ahead and start with PBT. Cambria, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. This is Cambria. I just wanted to remind everyone that all PEBT uploads need to be complete by the end of the day on February 18th. This includes both address changes and adding students. After February 18th, the PEBT portal will be closed permanently, and we will not be able to accept any more changes. And if you have any questions about PEBT, please email me or call me with any questions that you have.
Okay, I'm going to talk to everybody about transitioning from DUNS numbers to unique identity numbers, and this is Linda. So by April 4th, 2022, DUNS number will be removed from federal reporting and moving to a unique entity ID or UEI number for all financial reporting. If an entity has registered in SAM.gov, the number is assigned. However, if your account is blocked from view, CNP will need to gather that information from each sponsor. Next slide. So in order to meet the deadline, all numbers will have to be gathered by CNP by March 15, 2022. So the deadline's coming up in about 6 weeks. If we do not have the number by this date, all grants and payments will be delayed to sponsors. CNP is currently gathering the numbers that are visible and may be reaching out shortly to gather the UEI from those with blocked access. There are a lot of school districts that have blocked their access. So up on the screen is where you can find the SAM number, and this is the number that we will need from you. And this is just showing that the expiration date, so the sponsor is active, it expires August 11th, 2022. Next slide. Next slide is what we see when the number is blocked from access or not visible. So we can't even make an inquiry to find out what your UEI number is. Now I will go to the next slide and talk about supply chain assistance funds. So we are waiting on funding authorization from the Idaho legislature before we can distribute funds to SFAs. We're hoping this will occur by March or April, and funds will be released in the GRA. So having the changed UEI number is critically important for this pot of money as well as your claims. For UEI, I have a question in that says, where do we go to find this information? Or is this something our business manager would know more about? This is something your business manager should know, and he or she would be able to give you your UEI number. So that's it for supply chain assistance funds and UEI. The next person up is
Thanks, Linda. It's TJ, and I'm going to take over for USDA Foods. Just a gentle reminder, if you haven't already, make sure you're muting yourself. We hear a little bit of back chatter, and we just want to make sure that everyone gets what they need out of this important webinar today. So thank you for that. It's always nice to be able to talk about USDA foods and have good news instead of not so good news. So I'm happy to announce that if you haven't seen the broadcast email, which hopefully everyone has, that USDA, the state distributing agency, was actually awarded a fair share portion of a rather large pot of money that went to all of the state distributing agencies across the nation. Idaho was awarded 1.6 million, which is our fair share of that pot of money. And we were given options on how, as a state distributing agency, we would choose to utilize those funds. While the options were fairly limited, they do serve the needs of the majority of the schools in Idaho. So we were thrilled to see that out of the 3 options available, one of them really suited our needs. So the USDA Foods team got to work immediately and was able to determine, based on the available products that could be purchased with that awarded funds, we were able to secure 29 full truckloads of direct delivery products. And of those 29 truckloads, 22 of them are different products. So there are a variety of products. And all of the products we were able to choose covered all categories of available foods. In other words, we got fruit out of the deal. We got poultry, meat products, vegetables, legumes, oil, cheese, pasta, and eggs. What our team decided to do was ensure that we looked at historic usage over past years. So in other words, what products are constantly ordered in WebSEM that tend to be high value, historically used products. And off of the list of 105 available products, we chose the ones that our school districts year after year after year requisition in WebSEM. So those products will be available as bonus. What that means is that all recipient agencies will have equal access to all 29 truckloads of products, and there is no entitlement cost when you claim those products off the bonus tab. So we need to make sure that everyone is aware what are the rules when we put products on the bonus tab for exchange. Please make sure that you're aware of the items listed below here. Obviously, no entitlement is drawn down. It does require that you pay the per case delivery fee. So it's direct delivery, which means that you're going to pay this year, the direct delivery fee is $3.98 per case. So it's going to cost you $3.98 for a case of pulled pork, or a case of blueberries, or a case of red beans, any of those bonus product items that you'll find. Also, it's really important that you remember there is a 60-day dwell time policy that applies to all direct delivery products. So if you claim a product off the exchange and it arrives at our warehouse in August, you have 60 days to draw down your portion of claimed product out of IRIS for delivery. So you would need to ask for a delivery. If it arrives in August, it needs to either be on your September or October orders placed in IRIS. So it is the purpose of bonus products is not to claim all that you can use within a year and then have it sit at the warehouse, because we do have limitations on available space at the warehouse. So please make sure that you pay close attention to that dwell time policy. And then the third item on the exchange rules is that if you claim a product off of the exchange, it is a firm commitment that you will release that product in IRIS and use it in your school. What we've seen over the course of the last few weeks is we've had multiple people surrendering product that they've had sitting in the warehouse since July of last year or August of last year. But some of that product that they're trying to surrender, they claimed off the exchange tab. That is absolutely not allowable. If you claim it, it's a firm commitment. You need to plan to use it in your meal service programs. So with that good news, let's move on to some more USDA food timely information.
There were some questions. Did you want to get to those after or?
Yeah, you know what? Let's go ahead and go through the USDA food section if that's okay. And then we'll circle back around because some of the rest of the information might answer those questions. So the next item on the agenda for USDA foods is the WebSEM training. So you're all probably fully aware that we're getting really close to that WebSEM ordering cycle. So what the USDA foods team has been working on, and I want to shout out to Kat. She's done an amazing job on putting together some training videos for the WebSEM process. Those WebSEM videos are broken down into 4 mini bite-sized trainings. They're very consequential and they take each subject matter and fully explain it. So this is really important, not only for those of you that have ordered in WebSEM before, but if you're a new food service director, you really need to pay attention to these trainings. So the trainings that will be available are number 1, the WebSEM ordering worksheet. Then after you've watched that particular training, which will be released by close of business today, you'll find it on the CMP YouTube channel. We have put an actual link to the CMP YouTube channel on the CMP webpage. You'll find it under the resources tab. So it looks like the little link that you see there on this particular slide. So you'll find these trainings when you click on that link. WebSEM ordering worksheet will be available this afternoon, followed by the USDA direct delivery tab training, which we hope to have available in the next day or so. And then USDA further processed foods tab, that will then be released probably by Friday. And then the USDA further processed chicken tab video. So we broke it down into bite-sized pieces of information so that you can look at the resource that we're going to make available for you and watch these videos and really utilize the planning worksheet to be able to forecast prior to placing orders in WebSEM. So with that, let's go to the next bit of information. So WebSEM Catalog, our target date for releasing the catalog this year, which is the catalog you'll use to place your WebSEM requisitions, is February 18th. So please watch for an updated broadcast email. It's important to know a few things about the WebSEM catalog this year. The 29 truckloads of product that we ordered with the awarded CCC funds, you will not find those products in the WebSEM catalog this year. That's because we used our awarded funding so you don't have to use your restricted entitlement on those particular products. Everyone will be able to claim those off the bonus tab of the exchange. So the WebSEM catalog will be significantly smaller this year. If you don't see a product you normally order, it's because we ordered it for you. So keep that in mind. Please, before the WebSEM catalog is released, watch all of the WebSEM training videos. Make sure you download the school year 22-23 WebSEM ordering sheet from My Idaho CMP. Anticipate that that spreadsheet will be available by Friday. We're still working on some updates, but we will send out an update broadcast email when that is available, as well as the other videos. Also, make sure that you run your program year 2023 entitlement summary report in advance so that you know how much entitlement you have available to spend. And then the final bullet point on this is rewatch all the videos, because they really will help you self-direct your success in your WebSEM ordering. And so with that, we'll go ahead, and it looks like there are a couple of questions and Jamie, I'm not sure. I'm only seeing chat. Are they in an actual Q&A box?
No, they're just actually in the chat.
Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure I wasn't overlooking anything. So let's see. Some of this is about UEI. It looks like that one was answered. When will we be available to request on the bonus tab? I just covered that. We will make the bonus tab available. We have a lot on our plate, as you can imagine, and updating that bonus tab takes quite a bit of time. So once the bonus tab is updated, you will watch for a broadcast email that says all bonus products are now available. Please feel free to go in and claim them. So thank you for that question, and then watch for further information on that. And is there going to be a limit put on products? Whoops, sorry, when a new chat comes in, it moves. Is there going to be a limit put on products so all schools have a chance of receiving this? The state distributing agency doesn't necessarily limit, but we will use our discretion. So if I see a school go in there and the truckload quantity is 912 and somebody claims 912 cases, that's not going to happen. Again, there are rules to claiming product off the exchange. You should be using a forecasting method for knowing how many cases of product you need to get you through the school year. And you're bound to a 60-day dwell time. So the idea is not to say, oh, well, I can get all this product and have it last for years and years. What you claim should be used in the year that it was claimed. You have a 60-day dwell time. And we anticipate that everyone uses a reasonable forecasting method for claiming what they ask for on the bonus tab. But if for some reason we see, some issues at the state distributing agency, we'll reach out to folks and say, you claimed 900 and we're just not going to have you take an entire truckload. So we'll work on that individually, but, make sure you do your due diligence too, to pay close attention to that bonus tab and claim what you can reasonably use. The next question is, has the decision been made about further processed items? Yes, it has. The state distributing agency has been working feverishly to get our state participation agreements out. So once those are back in, we are going to let everyone know what further processed products are available. And you'll see that on the WebSEM ordering spreadsheet. Those products will be listed there so that you can forecast for the number of pounds that you need to be able to further process. The second part of that question is, are you going to have districts procure their own processed products? No, Judy, we are not. So that's a good question. We have some school districts that may be really in a space where they can do that. But the information that we got back from the advisory council and from our surveys suggests that we're still not there yet in terms of schools individually procuring. Now, if you, as a member of a co-op, if you can procure further processed items at a better price than the state participation agreement affords, then we encourage you to work with your co-op. Some co-ops get better pricing than others. Some smaller districts really are dependent on our state participation agreements. So hopefully that answers that question. And then we have a question, as we forecast for next year, do we have any idea what to expect for next year regarding reimbursement? Those are two separate conversations in terms of what meal reimbursement looks like. Doesn't fall under USDA foods. But if you're talking about entitlement, that's a different conversation. So entitlement currently is set at a per meal rate of 37 cents in WebSEM, but last year's per meal rate reimbursement was 0.3925. So what we know is that the processes for updating the reimbursement rate have not been completed through Congress. There are actually congressional funds that go into that reimbursement rate. So it's conceivable when you go in and place your WebSEM requisitions in February that the rate may still only be reflective of that 37 cents. That is a timeline we have absolutely no control over with USDA. And so keep that in mind, that the rate may go up after we place orders. That's why we made a decision at the state distributing agency to use that 1.6 million on valuable known products that we knew you would need, and you won't have to spend your entitlement on it. And then the next question to that is, are we going back to a normal scenario with paid meals? That is not a question that I can answer. That may have to go more to the NSLP team later. And then this will affect the items we use. I guess in theory, we all like to say that everything's going to be normal next year, and then we can have that conversation. But that's where the timelines for USDA foods ordering and what happens over the course of the next couple of months with USDA decision-making, policy-making, COVID outbreaks and all those things. We just don't have the crystal ball to answer those kinds of things. So we're still doing best guess in terms of USDA foods. But to be fair, USDA foods is always best guess. We never really know what's going to happen from year to year. Are products going to fail? Is there going to be a shortage? Are prices going to be higher? Are they going to go lower? USDA foods is just one of those programs where we use estimates, always have, always will. So let's see if there's any additional questions. Any ideas when we will know if all meals will be free next year? And again, I don't know. And I understand that will affect forecasting. It's just not something we have information on. So with that, I think I've gotten to everything in the chat, and we should return back then to the webinar so we can cover other important information.
Perfect. Thank you, TJ.
Thank
Kat,
you.
you're up.
Hi, everybody. So I'm sure most of you are tired of hearing me go on and on about capital expenditure requests, but I do realize we have some new food service directors who may not be aware. So I just wanted to give you a few more reminders that when you go out for bid on an item that is over the $5,000 threshold for capital expenditure request, you must allow for an equal or equivalent brand. I'm seeing quite a few districts that are just going out for the mixer they like or the dishwasher they want, and that's not okay. You have to allow those vendors to quote you an equal or equivalent brand. If you don't do that, the state agency will require going back out to bid. So you will get that email from me asking you to go back to the vendors and see if they have an equal or equivalent item that they can offer you. If that equal or equivalent item doesn't meet your specifications, then you don't have to accept the item. You just need to give us some justification as to why it won't work for you. So if the lower priced item does meet the specifications and you still choose to go with higher priced, then your CNP funds would be able to be used for the lower amount if we approve that, and then your general funds would have to make up the difference. Your quotes need to be uploaded in My Idaho CNP, and even if you can only get 2 quotes, if you've requested more, please put those in as well. Just saying that they were unresponsive. I've seen a lot lately where they're just not going to bid, and that's okay. You can just put those in and say, we did try to get 3 quotes, but you only got 2. Maybe you only got 1, and that's okay. Just put that in there and put a little, comment in the notes section. Remember, those requests need to be made and approved by the state agency before you purchase the item. If not, you may be on the hook to pay for the whole thing with the general funds. And if you're in need of a repair, your refrigerant coolant's going out and you're getting that repaired, those do not need a capital expenditure request as long as it's considered a repair. So if you have any questions, let me know. As TJ mentioned, we are putting little mini bites out on the CNP YouTube channel, and I have created one for a capital expenditure request that kind of lays it all out for you step by step. So please go out and watch that. It might help answer questions, but if not, you're always free to call me or email me and I'll get back to you. Also, the last thing I'd like to request is if you do put in a capital expenditure request, please give me a little bit of time to look at it. I'm also part of the PEBT team. I'm the USDA foods team. And as TJ mentioned, we're ramping up and kind of busy right now. So it's always best if you can send me an email and say, hey, I put in a request. Can you get in there and look at it? That's really helpful for me. I do try to check out once a week to make sure I'm not missing anybody. But again, don't worry, just text me or email me and say, hey, Kat, I put in a request, and that way I can get on it a little bit faster. So thanks for listening. I'm sure you're tired of hearing about this, but I'm always here to answer your questions.
Thank you, Kat. And we are going to turn over to Marianne for some summer food updates.
Thanks, Jamie. Good morning, everyone. So I will be tagging along on these monthly webinars now that we are gearing up for a summer operation under SFSP. So I'll be sending out reminders. And then, of course, I'm here and Dominique as well for any summer feeding questions that you all may have. But just some reminders that I have in the next couple of slides. So we sent out the welcome back email to all of our past SFSP sponsors. Along with that welcome back email, I've attached the sponsor packet application instruction sheet. There's quite a few information that we had updated on how to complete your packet for this year. So please be sure to check that attachment. And I can attach that to the chat as well, so you guys have that readily available before you log off on this webinar. One of the things that is a big update on the instruction sheet is the documentation of site eligibility. I believe many of you know that we received an SFSP management evaluation this past summer from USDA. And one of the things that we require to have is the documentation of the site eligibility. So we have to ensure that all of our sponsors have that on their packet. So please be sure to follow the instruction on that instruction sheet. And then as far as the operation for this summer, unfortunately, we have not heard anything from USDA on any nationwide waivers for summer 2022 operation. We've had calls with them at least once or twice a week. And we have been, along with other state agencies, have been very vocal on what our sponsors need for this coming summer operation. So please know that we have you all's back and have been sharing that with our Western region to share with the national office on what's needed for this summer operation. And so we're just waiting. We're waiting on further guidance. So as of right now, we are planning for a traditional or normal operation for summer 2022. And if we hear anything otherwise, we'll be sure to send that as a broadcast email right away. Next slide. For training this summer, we are planning for a combination of in-person and virtual training. On that welcome back email, there was an attachment or some information regarding the 2 annual mandatory training, the Summer Food 101. There you go. Thanks, Jamie. The Summer Food 101. And this training is really for new sponsors or any sponsors that had compliant issues from previous years, or really anyone who wants to do the full day training, you know, to really just have some full reminders, the resources that you guys need to be able to, as of right now, return to normal operation this summer. And this training will be in person. And then the other annual mandatory training, this is the Summer Food Refresher. And this training is for experienced sponsors without any compliance issues from previous years. And this training will be done virtually. So it will be done through Zoom. And as I mentioned on the welcome back email, each of our SFSP sponsors will receive an individualized email and the registration link on how to register for the Summer Food 101 training and the Summer Food Refresher training. And then, of course, additional information on online courses that you will be required to complete in addition to the 101 or the refresher training. So I know that's a lot of information regarding training, but we will send out the individualized email starting tomorrow afternoon. So please be sure to check your email on additional information on the trainings required for summer feeding. Next slide. And this is just my last slide. This is this training schedule we will be conducting this summer. I've also attached this PDF copy on the chat box. And apologies for the multiple emails regarding the training schedule. There was a couple of typos. That was an oversight on my part. So apologies for the multiple emails the past couple of days. But the most updated one is what you're seeing on your screen and what's uploaded on the chat box. So again, if you guys have any questions at all for any SFAs that have never done the summer food service program, if you guys are wondering about this program this summer, please reach out to the summer feeding team here at the state agency, and we'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you have. And I believe that's my last slide, and I'm going to turn it back to Linda.
Thank you, Marianne. While everyone has their calendars out, our next slide is about the NSLP annual training dates. And we just wanted to announce to you guys so you can put this in your calendar along with the SFSP trainings, that we have our location and our dates set, except for the tentative date, June 13th at ISNA.
And Jamie, it looks like if you were done with this slide, it looks like that we had a question for the summer feeding team.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, go to the next one. Go ahead.
Awesome. Thank you, Jamie. So there was a question on this on the chat box. Will you be doing in-person reviews for SFP this year? When will we know who will be reviewed? Yes, we are planning for in-person reviews this summer. Dominique and myself will start looking at the schedule starting next month, depending on which sponsors will be coming back to operate SFSP this summer. And we are hoping to have that full list by the time we do the in-person or the annual training that will be shared during the one-on-one training or the virtual training, whichever one you'll be completing. We will have that schedule out by then. Great question, Barbara. Thank you. And I believe that was my only one, Jamie.
Looks like we just got a question about PEBT. I don't know if Cambria or Linda. I did also want to go back to the first slide. There was some individuals that logged on just a couple minutes late. We missed the PEBT announcement. Let's see. I have a few returned PEBT letters to parents. We do not have some of the updated addresses for these students. How do I go about this? Some students are no longer with us.
This is Linda. I'll answer that. If you don't have updated addresses, just keep the letters and hopefully the parents will contact you by February 18th. If not, starting in March, you probably could shred the letters because it does have PII in them. And there really is nothing we can do on February 18th for that. I hope that answers your question. The next, yeah, oh no, the next one. Yeah, I know this is a magic 8-ball question. But it sounds like PEBT may be here to stay. Can we plan on more PEBT for next year? And I'll sigh a little bit, but PEBT is in law that whenever the pandemic is occurring during a school year, PEBT is triggered. So PEBT for this school year and summer PEBT have been triggered. But this is moving into the realm of DHW asking for the information from school districts. And currently, I do not know what that will look like right now. So we will try to get you as much lead time or to know what is happening with that before the end of the school year. Because I know a lot of you had difficulties when we were asking you about summer stuff for May in November. You had switched over your student information systems then. So we will try to give you a little bit better lead time. And next question. It's really important to every district to find out if we will be full pay next year or everyone free next year. Is there any way to find out so we will be able to forecast correctly? And again, USDA has hinted that everything is supposed to go back to normal, but they did that last year and everything did not go back to normal. So our crystal ball is not broken, it's shattered. I have no idea what's going to be next year. I will tell you, USDA has said we were going back to normal operations. That can change.
And Linda, to piggyback on that, the same holds true for USDA foods entitlement and the conversations. I think it's really important for everyone on this webinar to realize, in anticipation of these questions, we've been asking for months for some type of guidance. But keep in mind that really at the end of the day, when you have policymakers working for an entire nation and different confluences of high rise in COVID, and then peaking and lowering and hospitalizations, and then different pressures from different organizations wanting all meals free from here on out and forever, and all those kinds of things. At the end of the day, all we can do is give you what we know today. And what we know today is USDA is telling us to plan for normal. That doesn't mean that's what's going to happen, because it really, everybody is in the same boat. What we used to depend on as normal year after year after year was never set up to answer to a pandemic. So until decisions are made, we just keep asking the questions and we'll give you the guidance as we know it. But that doesn't mean that, we don't understand that you're trying to plan. We are too. Everybody's just doing their very best at planning. And then those plans may have to change on a dime. But we'll certainly get information to everyone as soon as we have it.
I agree, TJ. Thank you so much for putting it that way. The next question will be for Marianne. Will SSO be available for summer feeding, and will the higher SFSP reimbursement rates still apply? And I said, Marianne, SSO is an NSLP program. It is due to expire when schools get out in June, and supposed to go back to the NSLP reimbursement rate. But Marianne may have more information on that one.
Yeah, thanks, Linda. I'll piggyback on that. As Linda mentioned, the SFSP rate that our SSO are currently receiving ends at the end of the school year. And so as of right now, as I mentioned earlier, there are no nationwide waivers under COVID operation for summer 2022. And that also includes SSO operations. So all of the waivers that you all are currently operating under SSO, that ends at the end of the school year. And so we do not know any further information as far as rates as well. So as of right now, it will go back to the normal NSLP rate if you choose to do SSO for the summer operation. So after your school year. We're also, as a team, we're also going to be meeting this morning to further discuss really the logistic of our sponsors who would like to continue SSO operation this summer and how that's going to look like. And so more information will be provided for that transition. And again, we're waiting for further guidance from USDA. But yes, as of right now, SFSP rate under SSO operation will end at the end of the school year. Thanks.
And I'm going to go ahead and take the next question that just came in. It says, should I forecast as if we will be free, or should I forecast as if we'll be paid? I am a new food service director, so any guidance would be greatly appreciated. And we can certainly understand that, Gabrielle, if I'm correct, that you've only operated under pandemics situation. So here's my best guess. If I were a new food service director, I would look at my meal counts pre-pandemic. What did they look like before the pandemic? And what have I been doing since the pandemic? And I would be using an average. That's how I personally would forecast, because USDA is telling us plan to return to normal. But normal may have tweaks in it as we go through the next few months or even the beginning of the next school year. So that would be my recommendation, is use averages, because at least in some things it'll work out okay. And in other things you may find yourself short, and that's where you go to the exchange and hope that you can get products available, or you'll surrender products if you over anticipated your need. So that's the best I have for you. But thank you for that question.
Okay, and this is Kat. I have a question too, and I'm so excited because I never get questions. So yes, if you do have a part of a cooler or an appliance that breaks and you need to have it repaired, you do not need a capital expenditure request for that. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and still try to get quotes to make sure you're getting a good price and a fair price on that part.
And this is Linda. We've got quite a few thank yous for the state agency. But I do want to put out there that we're the conduit between USDA and all of you guys with the boots on the ground. And more kudos should go to you than to us. You guys are handling this with such grace and dignity that I thank you for everything you do. And thank you for being able to spin on the dime, because that dime is getting pretty small.
With the cost of foods, Linda, a dime isn't a dime anymore.
That is true too. And Reen has asked, can we review what the UEI is? What is the UEI? It's a new acronym. Yay.
Unique Entity Identification Number.
Yeah, Unique Entity Identification Number. Oh, next slide. It's in sam.gov. It is underneath your DUNS number, and it's sorry, I keep circling it with my mouse and you can't see that. It's in the red box on the left, and your business manager should be able to get you that. And it's alphanumeric, so it's letters and numbers. They should be able to get you the number that is needed. Okay, thank you all for attending.
Hang on, Melissa's trying to talk and she's muted.
Oh, okay.
Just go down to the bottom. Just go down to the bottom.
Sorry, hold on. Let me find you, Melissa. Did you get a prompt? Must be your headphones.
All right, now can you hear me?
Yay.
All right. Hi, everyone. This is Melissa. I just want to let you know regarding the unique identifier. We have the vast majority of them, so you don't have to check on it. We'll let you know if we're missing a number, but we do have 75 to 80%. So we're mostly good. But if I reach out to you to ask, let us know. Get it for us and let us know. Thanks.
Thanks, Melissa. And lastly, before we let you guys all go, I want to hand it over to Colleen.
Okay, thank you, Jamie. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. I just wanted to share the communication team here in the Department of Education, I believe, is working on some sort of email. But I did want to announce to this group that I have submitted for my retirement, and my last day will be February 15th. And so since we have a fair number of you here on this webinar, I just wanted to tell you that I am retiring. I will miss everyone. Child nutrition has been such a great career, such a noteworthy career and profession to have, and really want to echo what the team has been saying here, that you folks are doing a wonderful job. The pandemic has been something like none of us have ever seen before, and we really honor all of you, and even the state agency staff here too. I've really been blessed to not only work with them, but all of you. So again, my last day is February 15th, and if you want to reach out to me, I'm on Facebook, or if you want to email me, and I can give you my personal email and phone number if you want to keep in touch. So anyway, that's it. I'm excited for my next chapter in life. I've done USDA programs, started at the local level in the early 80s and worked at 2 school districts, and then have worked at the state agency here since 96. So it's a new and exciting time for me to do something different. So again, thank you, everyone. Really appreciate you all.
Thank you, Colleen. I think that was the last thing. And if anybody has any other questions or anything else to add, we will let you guys go with some extra minutes.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and see you next month.
Bye, all. Thank you.